Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakaha, Kodash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops, salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. The 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations, and to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning. To you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm, coming at you with another lesson in truth, and this is just about the fraud of the converts, of the Khazarians, the people who claim to be us, who created this J word in the 1800s. And I just refuse to. I'm just on this stance. I'm refusing to even use the word. All right. Because it's a made-up word, and there's fallacies and false doctrines and false people attached to that word, and they've attached that word to the name Israel. All right. Remember, the Abraham was a Hebrew. He wasn't an Ish. Isaac was a Hebrew, son of Abraham. He wasn't an Ish. All right. Jacob was a Hebrew, not an Ish. This Ishness was made up after the conversion, all right? After forced conversion of John Hyrcanus, and then a second time after the same people who converted to it in the first time did it again on their own around the 7th century, all right? But when you're looking at everything, matter of fact, let me bring out a scripture. All right, and before I get that scripture here, the Global Eye News, let's just put this in front of the camera. It says, Global Eye News, Iranian Foreign Ministry official, I call on everyone to leave Israel. So, Israel is not safe today. And a lot of Israelis, a lot of converts and Ish people who went there are leaving and preparing to leave, and they're living in fear, and not living in fear and not living in peace and safety, as the scriptures promises the Israelites would. All right, and we're in a state of perpetual war because you got a people. Now let's get the scripture. Let's just let the Bible say it. This is Revelation 2:9, and it reads, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty. All right. And if people who own, the record laborers and the diamond district and the banks, and they're definitely not living in poverty. Most of the land and property here in America, they're definitely not living in poverty, and around the world for that matter. And it says, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, all right, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And though that applied to wicked 2/3 Israelites back in that time, the duality of the scriptures, the multifold meanings of the scriptures, it's applying to today to these Khazarian, Idumean Edomites who have hijacked our culture. They even use a script of language, a form of Hebrew that's not really biblical, and all that, and all that to to hide the truth about who they really are. All right, because within this book, there's a reason I have it on the screen, because I did a lesson the other day and I wanted to get to that, and I didn't bring it out in that lesson because I kind of wanted to stay on subject. But what I'm looking at right now, on page 788 of the book that's on the screen, is the Moabite stone, and it commemorates the revolt of Mesha, king of Moab, against Israel, and his rebuilding of several towns. All right, Kowar using Israelite slave labor, black basalt height, and it's about 1 meter height and a breadth of 6 millimeters wide, and this was in 830 BC, going to show you that the house of Israel, the house of Jacob, the house of Judah, all right, never use the Assyrian script of Hebrew, all right? And this is actually in a museum. Now, here's the problem with the script that they use, and I often say this, is that this script of Hebrew was found all over the Americas, from Canada to Brazil. All right, the natives were writing in it, and there's so much hardcore evidence to prove it. You know, as relics they left behind. All right, though they even had some of the Assyrian script proving that they were in the Assyrian captivity. But when they got here and got away from their captors, all right, they began to write in their own language, in their own way again. Matter of fact, let's go to my see if I can go to my my evidence folder and find the definition of Yiddish. I know I have it without going to the book, the actual, because I have the book, but I screenshotted the definition, and maybe it's not. It's probably in the phone that I'm actually using to shoot. So I have to go to the book now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. But here, this is, you know, the Assyrian script of Hebrew. All right, there's no record of the house of Judah ever using this form of Hebrew. The house of Judah did not go into the Assyrian captivity. Therefore, they would have no reason to have to be forced to learn a new form of language and attach it to their own. All right. So by disregarding the actual Hebrew, the new converts were using this Hebrew and were passing this off as Hebrew, just as they passed themselves off as, you know, JOOs. All right. Because in the they basically, they're claiming to be Sephardic and all that. No, they're Ashkenazi, and Ashkenazi Jews are Edomite converts from the time of from the Khazars. All right. In this book here, the Sephardim in America, I should have had it on the screen as well. All right, by Martin A. Cohen and Abraham J. Peck. All right, it tells you here. Just in the opening insert. Let's go down to. Yeah, in the years between 1881 and 1924, the great period of the East European Jewish immigration to the United States, a second and lesser known group of immigrants left the shores of Europe and Asia. Europe and Asia is one place. All right, Asia is they name parts of Asia Europe, Eurasia. That's why they say that. You won't find Europe in the Bible at all. All right. To find a home in America, they spoke Judeo, Spanish, Greek, Arabic, and claimed Sephardic heritage. Claimed. All right. The religious practices, songs, and poetry were all their own, although they were JOOs, or Jews from Turkey, Greece, Syria, Balkans to East European Jews. They may as well have been from another planet. They spoke Yiddish, not recognizable Jewish surnames, to the already established Sephardim, that they could only distant relatives regulated the status of the Oriental Levantine Jews, not deserving of a true Sephardic Jews. And the Sephardic were the Moors and Morenos, who were casted from power when Spain and Portugal fell and got scattered. Moors, Morenos, who became crypto-Jews. All right? The Moriscos. All this is talking about people who are swarthy in complexion, dark people. Okay? And they also became what you know as the Huguenots. And the Huguenots helped set up the Americas. And what happened was, these Ashkenazi Edomite Jews came over and basically took over what these actual Israelites, okay, had set up here in the Americas in different parts of the world. And all the things that they were doing were righteous, and it was not our time to rule anyway. But this is just a fact of what happened. These people came in and took the places of the southern kingdom, and now claim to be the people. And they put that label, that J word, because they didn't even start using that until like the, you know, somewhere around the same time in the mid to 18th century. All right. Remember, the letter J is newly created. It wasn't even created until 1534 by some Italian. All right. Elder Apostle Tahar, you know, did that bona fide, you know, research and provided the receipts and the evidence. So to dispute it, well, you know, you just look foolish. All right. It's fact. Everything that I'm speaking is fact. All right. I'm not speaking lies, anything that I just made up. Okay. So, and I'm going to grab that definition too. I haven't forgot, but I want to show another receipt to show you, even going back as far as Jeremiah. There's another relic in this book on page 558 of the book that's on the screen. And it's Jeremiah, the king's son of Laram, named on the seal impression in clay dating from the late 7th century BC. He was identified with Jeremiah, who burnt Jeremiah's scroll. All right, Jeremiah 36 and 26 is even giving you the scriptural reference of this person, and this was a seal. All right, and clearly they have the seal somewhere in a museum, but as you can see, that's the ancient Paleo or the Phoenician Hebrew. All right, right there, that's page. So these Yiddish speaking you know, Assyrian script imposters, well, you know, they looking kind of bogus. And matter of fact, let's get the receipt behind me. I said I thought I had this in my phone, so I'm gonna take another image of it and put it right back in those because I changed phones, so I must have lost that one. You know, everything doesn't transfer over. But this is the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedic Edition, 1933. All right, I also have the 1925 edition. But and this book has been a wonderful asset in the teaching and edification. And the fact that we use Esau's own references to prove what we're saying is true is coming from their own scholars, all right, their own people. And here it is. All right. And I'll read it, then I'll put it before the screen, and you can pause it and screenshot it so you can you can have it for your own records. But it says Yiddish. All right. Jewish, Jude, Jew, a kind of mixed German and Hebrew language. Also, you can put Slavic in there. I have another definition, but it's just too small to see. And in Oxford, is I have a ginormous Oxford dictionary, but you actually need a magnifying glass to read the definitions. So that's the only reason I'm not showing, because it says Hebrew and Slavic language, which is absolutely correct. But it says German and Hebrew language spoken by Jews, written or printed in Hebrew characters. Adjective Jewish. Remember, the suffix ish means to be like, okay? So meaning they're not. You know how something's bluish? Oh, that's Yom Kippur. This is what I'm looking for. You see? So you can screenshot that. All right? Printed in Hebrew characters. All right? So they speak another language, but they use fraudulent Hebrew characters to make themselves look and sound legit. These people are frauds. Okay? They're complete frauds. And, you know, middle finger to the ADL and all those other organizations who try to say that this is not hate. This is simple historical truths. All right? That's what this is. All right? What's hate? Those organizations are the proprietors of hate, because they're enforcing lies and coming against people and label them, you know, anti-Semitics for telling the truth. All right? For speaking and telling the truth. Put this book back. All right. I got to rearrange all this so that my library sits right next to the computer. Okay, I got to redo everything in here for that reason. But so you saw the evidences for yourself, man. You know. And as a matter of fact, you know, like I said, when the Northern Kingdom came here to the Americas, they began to write in our own language. They didn't write in the language that they were forced to observe, or, you know, they didn't do this anymore. It was a wrap on this. All right. They didn't have to do that anymore. They went back to writing in the actual ancient real Hebrew. Okay, in the Assyrian script, and I provided the evidence for doing so. All right, so this wasn't meant to be long. This was meant to be short and to the point. But let me get one of my favorite scriptures on the subject matter. And, you know, and this is the Lord put the Spirit on me to stay on this subject matter. I mean, you know, probably about 80% of the time, this is what I'm talking about. But it's not something that the Lord gave me this spirit to do what I do and do it the way that I do it. All right. I didn't do this on my own. Okay. I didn't choose this subject on my own, but it's just something about, you know, the Lord put a spirit on me to go hard on this subject, man. And I know that I've suffered persecution as a result of it. Matter of fact, we all have to a certain extent, and it's still gonna, but there's a reward at the end of it, brothers, and you few sisters that listen. But let's go to Deuteronomy, 33 and 29. One of my favorite scriptures. All right. Matter of fact, I'm going to read 28 just to cut them, because this is how you know that these people are not the people of the Lord, because they're not dwelling in peace and safety alone. All right. Deuteronomy 33, 28. Israel then shall dwell in safety alone, and the fountain of Jacob shall be upon the land of corn and wine, and also the heavens shall drop down dew. So there's not going to be factions of militants cutting off waterways and food supply, like, you know, like the Houthi or Hezbollah or whatever the hell. All right, that's not going to be happening. When Israel goes home, there will be peace on earth. There will be no more weapons. These peoples are frauds. They are the biblical Edomites. All right, you know, and the worst of the heathen. All right. Verse 29, and the point. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. And we tread upon their high places every time we turn on the camera and point out their fallacies. So with that, all praises, going, honor be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kahak Wadash, Kwam Yasharala, Shalawam, Abba Babal.